Hello, I'm Mr. Ewers and welcome to my language channel. In today's video I'm going to teach you how to prepare for the GCSE French writing exam. Hope you find it useful. So, for the purposes of this video we're going to be writing about school. So the first thing you need to do is think, what might I be asked to write about? So, the first thing you might be asked is, where do you go to school? And you'd be asked to give a description. So you need to give lots of details, such as the location, where is it? You might be asked to describe the buildings, what facilities are there? You might also be asked to include things like, are there any extracurricular activities or clubs? And definitely make sure you include both positive and negative opinions and give reasons for them. Something else you might be asked to talk about is your uniform. So, can you describe it using adjectives with correct adjectival endings? Can you give your opinion about your uniform? Again, try and give positive and negative with reasons. And you might be asked to write about the school rules and say what you would like to change if you had the choice. So as you know, you also need to include different tenses in your writing. So on the topic of school, you might be asked to describe a school trip you've been on using the past tense, or you might be asked to describe a day that went well or went badly, again using the past. And for the future tense, you might be asked to give your plans for what you're going to do after school. Are you going to go to college, do an apprenticeship, or are you going to work, or maybe you're going to travel? Finally, we mustn't forget, you might be asked to describe your day at school, your journée scolaire. So for that, you'll need to revise telling the time and reflexive verbs. You'll also need to describe your school timetable and give opinions about your school subjects, both positive and negative, with reasons. You could also talk about your teachers and say what you think about those. Don't name any names though. Once you've thought about what you're going to write about, the next step is to think about what verbs you might need and make sure they're correct. If you make a mistake on verbs in the exam, that counts as a major mistake. So for example, when you're describing your school, you will need things like je vais to say where you go, il y a to say what there is at your school, il est situé to say where it is. So as you can see from the slide, that's what I've done for all of the topics. You need to do the same. I would use something like word reference, the conjugator, or you could even use Google Translate for this to look up the verbs. Once you've listed all the verbs you might need, the next step is to have a go using your planning ahead sheet to write out one of the paragraphs. Maybe get it checked with your teacher. When you're happy with it, then I would try and write it out without using the planning ahead sheet and see how you get on. And if you work through all the paragraphs step by step in this way, I'm sure you'll do really well.